All right, Molly, you're good to go.
Hey, Stephanie. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Outreach and Engagement Committee to order. It is 9:02 a.m. Stephanie, would you please take attendance?
First, good morning, everyone. Eva Bermuda Zimmerman has not joined us yet. Isha Canada,
Present.
good morning. Adrian Cochran has not joined us yet. Sheila Hummel, Sheila has not joined us yet either. Molly Weston Williamson
Present.
and Tristan Bartman.
Present.
All right, we do not have a quorum, but we'll see who else joins us. So we'll circle back
Okay.
to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I do want to take a minute to acknowledge, I do think we have a couple of members of the public who are joining us today. Thank you so much for being with us. We're glad you're here. We're going to skip over item 2 on the agenda, which is approval of the September minutes since we don't have a quorum. And we'll circle back to that if and when we do.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Sheila just joined us.
Well then, that was timely.
Good morning, Sheila.
Morning. I think she's still connecting to audio, so let's give it a second. For Sheila. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So since I believe we now do have a quorum, let's proceed to review and approval of the September meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the September minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Justin. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the September minutes? Okay. All in favor of approving the September minutes, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Yeah,
I think that was 4 ayes. But just to confirm, any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. The motion carries. And we can move on to the more fun stuff in our agenda. Nicole, could you give us the update on the Family Expo event?
Yes, thank you, everyone. So I'm going to share my screen. Oops.
See your screen, Nicole.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll put this in presentation mode so we can see it full. Okay. All right, thanks, everyone. So we are going to present today on just a project plan for an idea that we have for a family exposition. And I'll get started. So the who, the what, and the when. So this would be a family exposition open to parents and families in the state of Connecticut. And we are thinking of having a certain number of registrants that can participate based on the venue or the location's guest capacity, but we're striving for 100 to 200 people in total, including vendors and participants, and of course, Connecticut paid leave staff. We were thinking that this could ideally be held on a Saturday in October 2025 from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. to give ample time for families to join. And some of the event goals that we thought through were, one, education to teach stakeholders about our program and really get our name out there. Two, relationships. So really just building and strengthening and fostering new and existing symbiotic relationships with community partners and other stakeholders by really providing them a space to share their resources and materials with families in our state. And finally, 3, community. Become trusted messengers ourselves by providing a space for families to feel welcomed and supported in Connecticut. And again, this project plan is, of course, something we'd like to present to you today to get your thoughts on and feedback to see if this is something that we would be interested in moving forward with.
I just want to pause for 1 second to acknowledge that Ava has joined as well.
Thank you. All right, so for venues and locations, we were taking into account multiple factors like, of course, Connecticut paid leave usage, our legislative championship districts, and access to transportation. And we decided that Hartford County would be a great central location for our first event, seeing that this is the largest county in the state. Of course, if this is a great success and we decide, again, with your support and the overall board's approval, that this would be something we'd like to do on an annual basis, we could explore other areas in the state of Connecticut to really branch out to. So some of the places we're interested in connecting with and just looking to see if they have a venue space for us to work with is the Hartford Public Library, the YWCA Hartford, Girl Scouts of America in Hartford, the YMCA of Greater Hartford, the Boys and Girls Club in Hartford, the University of Connecticut's downtown Hartford campus, Goodwin University in East Hartford, and Manchester Community College in Manchester. So again, these are a variety of like public spaces as well as nonprofit organizations and colleges and universities. So just some, information on like how we thought marketing promotion could go. Of course, we have the big three ways that we would normally market: television, radio, and newspaper. So go through the news stations, of course, the ones in English and in Spanish, the radio as well, do some commercials through there, and then just maybe have folks kind of like go onto the radio shows and talk a little bit about the event, and then newspaper articles. We were thinking for digital marketing, perhaps exploring geofencing around the places where expectant parents or parents of young children live in Connecticut. We do some meta targeting on Meta for these specific populations as well. And of course, we definitely focus on our social media channels to promote through Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of the sort. And then, of course, we'd leverage our podcast and virtual segment space. So about 2 to 3 months leading up to the date of the event, Nancy would start promoting it on the Paid Leaf podcast during her intro or her outro. And then kind of following the same timeline, we were also thinking, we could promote it on 5 Minutes of Impact and maybe even invite guests that would serve as vendors on the day of the event to tell folks to come out and meet them at the Family Expo. In regards to partnerships, we thought of like some very, broad themes that we wanted to organize and keep in mind during the process of like reaching out to potential partners. And so we split them up into like children and families. Working with state entities that really focus on children and families, nonprofit organizations as well. And here are just some of the ideas that we came up with. The next theme would be really health and wellness focused. So again, same concept, working with state entities that focus on, health and wellness when it comes to families throughout our state, nonprofit organizations as well, and other ideas, just miscellaneous things, perhaps having like a nutritionist available there, doing like some sort of like class, or having the Rotary Club provide like Amber Alerts, IDs for children. So things to, again, engage families. The next themes would include like obviously entertainment. So again, same concept, working with state entities that could provide some type of entertainment for families that day. Perhaps working with the Hartford Police Department to do a class on, buckling in children safely into their cars. Other nonprofit organizations that we've worked with in the past that also do like family or back to school events, could provide like backpacks or notepads or what have you to the children. And then again, other ideas of just entertainment like music, raffles, food trucks on site, things of that nature. And then finally, financial support. So again, working with state entities that can, provide some type of financial relief for families, and then nonprofit organizations that work to help families also, meet their financial goals. And then finally, we have here just a draft timeline of we'd like to share on how this would really look like in the next few months. So we are going into November, and so we would love to, obviously we are sharing with you today to get your feedback, your thoughts. And then after kind of talking through it a bit more with all of you, we'd love to present to the full board and have a budget developed, completed by the end of November. And then moving into December, we'd kind of decide on a date and a venue to host the event by the end of December 2024. And then moving into the new year, we do a preliminary reach to vendors by January 2025, and then some organizational outreach to partners will start in January 2025. In the spring, we would then continue our outreach to organizations to try to find partnerships throughout the spring. And then we'd also start creating a marketing and promotion plan at that time as well. Then moving into the summer, we'd start registration for attendees early, summer 2025, and that will be an ongoing process. And then we'd also be solidifying the vendors, the entertainment, the workshops, and all of the things that would compose this event leading into the summer and throughout the summer. And then finally in the fall of 2025, we'd host our first ever Connecticut Paid Leave Family Expo. So those are all this is the material that I have for you today, and I would love to answer any questions and also get any thoughts and feedback on this as well.
Thanks, Nicole. Do you folks have questions for Nicole?
Hi, Molly and Nicole. Thank you for that. I apologize if I'm in some dead zones for cell coverage, but I think this is great. I wanted to just offer out a couple of additional ideas in terms of potential state agency stakeholders. So DSS being one of them, so personal plug there. We're rolling out a new maternity health bundle in January. And so we think this will be great for folks who may be, taking advantage of the program for bonding purposes. Also, we find that as people are, in between, while they're taking time off, they may be eligible for other services that other state agencies may be available to them. So in addition to DSS, I was thinking about mental health and public health with WIC and things of that nature. So really excited to hear that this is an idea, but offer up DSS and other agencies for consideration.
Thank you so much, Isha. This is super helpful. I've been taking the notes down, and yeah, we would love to hear any other ideas you have, even if they come up after this meeting. Feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we're happy to continue talking through it. But we welcome any ideas at this time. So thank you.
Thanks. I was going to say WIC too, so you should beat me to it on that one. I think this is an awesome idea. I also love that we're planning a full year in advance. I think that is an ideal way for a first event to have plenty of time to run things through all the traps and get the space and have the flexibility. So I really appreciate the staff's forward thinking on that. I would ask, so the target audience here, it sounds like, is mostly expecting parents and parents with young kids. Is that right?
Yes.
So one thing to flag is if you're shooting for parents of young kids, if you have an event that only runs noon to 3, that's nap time for a lot of young kids. So it might be worth thinking about that. That's a deep part of my life. So that's jumps out at me.
Thank you
so much for that, Molly. Those of us who have kids were mostly out of that phase. So you're right. That's a little insider knowledge that we forgot about.
So I think that's awesome. It also seems like this is a place where, in addition to going through state agencies, thinking about if there's flyers or promotional stuff to run through the state OB networks, the state pediatrician networks, this is an easy thing to promote for them. I think probably that'll also get you some folks who may want to be vendors. But that seems like sort of low-hanging fruit for those folks. And one of the thoughts, and this is way down the road since we're talking about an event a year from now, but I think could be a useful thing for other kinds of events we're looking to promote, is I don't know how much work we've done with identifying either there's some websites, there's often Instagram pages too, and sometimes Facebook groups that are specifically for parents of here's what to do this weekend. So Instagram is heavy on this. There's a website called Mommy Poppins, which has networks around the country. Macaroni Kid is another one. But I think for a lot of kinds of events that the authority does, figuring out what the right list is, particularly since that's going to vary regionally, of thinking about those Instagram pages. There's some Facebook groups. There are a couple of websites, but I think Instagram is probably the most prominent. And just figuring out what the list is of those posts so we can send when we have events like this to those lists. Because I think for a lot of folks, this could be really exciting and interesting. And that could be an opportunity just to sort of build into the practices. But like something like this, I think is like a no-brainer for those kind of places. And I guess my last thought is also just thinking about, without specific suggestions, but thinking about as we're gearing this towards a lot of the folks who are coming are likely to be coming with their young kids. I think just being really proactive, both in the planning and the messaging about, here's why this is not going to be a miserable place to bring your 2-year-old, which I think is already the vision, but I think really thinking consciously about both what we are doing on that and how we're signaling that is going to be really helpful as we outreach. But I think this is a fantastic idea. I think this makes a ton of sense as something to plan ahead for, and I could see this being something that lots of other state resources would want to build upon and take advantage of, which I think is really, really fantastic.
Thank you, Molly. That's super helpful. So I took those notes down. I'm definitely the nap time. We did not think through that. So that's super helpful. And Instagram pages, I didn't even know of that as well. So thank you so much. And we're really excited to continue updating you folks as you know, we get board approval, full board approval, and we move towards making this vision come to life. Thank you.
Any other questions for Nicole? Okay. Thank you so much, Nicole. We're excited to hear about this at the full board. I think next on our list is Jessica has our outreach and engagement updates.
Thanks, Molly. Before I get into that, I just wanted to really say thank you to Nicole. You know, we kind of came up with this idea and she took it and ran with it and did a lot of legwork already in terms of like talking with Access Health and other organizations that have experience doing these kinds of events. So just wanted to publicly thank her for all the hard work she's put into to looking into this so far. So let me get my slides going. All right. Okay. So first I wanted to share some new creative. So this is a new 30-second video that we are planning to use on our with our television partners, as well as through our digital assets. So video pre-roll, social media, etc. Actually, you know what? I know I forgot to hit the button to share the computer audio. I'm getting better because now I think about it beforehand. All right, let's try that again. No, maybe not. Sorry. You always try to be so prepared, but it doesn't always work the way you want it to. Okay.
Connecticut Paid Leave, making time for life's most important moments.
To recover from illness or injury.
To give your employees peace of mind.
To welcome home an active duty service member.
To help a loved one get better.
To get help for your mental health.
To welcome a new addition to your family.
To leave an unsafe home.
Learn more about accessing the benefits of Connecticut Paid Leave. Visit ctpaidleave.org.
So the idea behind that was really this kind of back to basics of making sure that folks understand the different reasons they can use paid leave, really showcasing a variety of different individuals, both, you know, gender, age, race. You know, obviously we use some folks with accents. We really wanted people to watch this and see themselves in one of these individuals. And if anyone is, you know, picked up on it, that was all shot in Middletown. So we also wanted to use a place that was sort of a, you know, recognizable location in Connecticut. So we're super excited about that, and that will be going live in November. And then the next thing I wanted to share is our newest user-generated content video. So this is an individual who is speaking about military family leave.
Serving in the military means our families often face unique challenges. Connecticut Paid Leave understands this and is here to help. They offer important benefits like income replacement if your parent, spouse, or child is on active duty or is notified of an impending call to active duty, and you need to make arrangements for things like non-routine childcare, counseling, or attendance at crucial military events. So if you're part of a military family, visit ctpaidleave.org to see how Connecticut Paid Leave can make a difference for you.
So as you heard me mention last week at the board meeting, we've been building up this library. So with this most recent one, we have one or two more in the works, and then we've sort of rounded out the library in terms of having all of the different reasons for leave covered. And so this will be something that we can continue to draw on and change things out. These are particularly being used on TikTok and Instagram is primarily where they're seen. I also wanted to share that we have redesigned our infographic. This is what the new one looks like. And the reason that we did this is, we were looking back, as you know, we have sort of what we call our general infographic, and then we also have targeted ones for different leave reasons like caregiving, adoption or foster care, etc. And then looking back at them, we realized that as we had created them over a period of time and as different people had designed them, there was just not continuity in terms of the look. And so we wanted to really just streamline that look so that there is this instant recognition of the Connecticut Paid Leave brand. We also reworked the wording and tried to simplify it so that all the important information is still there, but it's just less text on the page, so it doesn't feel so overwhelming to folks. And we also wanted to include a bit more reference to FMLA, so we have that both at the very beginning under what is CT paid leave, and then down at the bottom, just a reminder, this is not job protected leave, so speak to your employer about FMLA or other laws. So I wanted to thank Nicole for working on this, and we are working on additional pieces for the other leave reasons as well.
Thanks so much, Jessica. So many cool things happening, and I love the cards and I love the early video. I think that's fantastic. And does such a good job of like covering all of Connecticut and also covering all of the needs, which is a lot to do in a very short clip. So I really appreciate that. I see Justin's off mute.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really like the videos. It's good to see the diverse folks speaking. And then it's nice to see Middletown, which is not a city that we often highlight. We often highlight the bigger ones. So really like that. And I recognize Middletown right away.
Great. Goal achieved. Any other questions or thoughts for Jessica? Okay. And I think next on our list is the podcast update. I don't see Nancy. Are you filling in, Jessica?
I am, yeah. Unfortunately, Nancy's sick, so she did send me her slides to present on her behalf. So let me just get those pulled up. Oh. All right. All right, so most recent stats, the podcast is at almost 5,700 downloads, all-time downloads. In terms of what Nancy has been working on recently, in October, she did a podcast for Hispanic Heritage Month, which is already live. She spoke with the co-chairs of the Stratford Hispanic Heritage Committee, as well as the president of the Hispanic Chamber of Greater Bridgeport. They talked about why Hispanic Heritage Month is important, and as well as how different aspects of Connecticut paid leave are particularly important to the Hispanic community. And in terms of additional outreach that came from this, we were invited to table at the Latino Business Expo tomorrow from 2 to 5 in Bridgeport, which we're excited to participate in. And Andrea Torres-Fodor was really great about using her own and her organization's social media to promote the podcast and help spread the word even further. So that was great. The second podcast for October, which will be going out, I believe, on Monday, is with Allison Jacobson, the CEO of an organization called First Candle, which is based here in Connecticut, although they do work nationwide. And it is about Safe Sleep and SIDS Awareness Month. Allison, talks about why she started the organization after she lost her son to SIDS. And, you know, we really like the tie-in with mental health, right? And also being able to take the time as a new parent that you need to bond with your child, but also not be trying to go back to work too soon, and maybe having those circumstances where you're so exhausted, so you're bringing the baby into bed with you because you're just trying to grab a couple of hours of sleep before you know, you have to get up and go to work. And we connected with Allison because of an article in the Hartford Courant where she talked about just that, about parents who are, you know, just not able to take that time they need, and then you know, having to do some of these things in order to just try to make it so that they can function. And so it was a great connection that we were able to work with her. In November, it's National Diabetes Month. And so Nancy spoke with a doctor from UConn Health, talked about the different kinds of diabetes, treatments, education, as well as, of course, how Connecticut Paid Leave can help folks who are diabetic and as a chronic condition need time off to attend their doctor's appointments. And then we also will be talking with the CEO of Connecticut Food Share and one of the board of members of the board of directors of Connecticut Food Share in November, tying in Thanksgiving and, you know, food insecurity in Connecticut and the intersectionality of Connecticut Paid Leave in, you know, as a resource for folks who might be, you know, the compounding effect of needing to take time off from work, not because you're ill, not having income, and then the food insecurity problem growing. And we wanted to thank Nicole for this connection, because Nicole had the connection with Food Share. So I think goes without saying, Nancy continues to do amazing work, and we're really grateful for the additional connections and outreach that we are able to accomplish through those connections that she makes. I can try to answer any questions, or I can certainly bring them back to Nancy and then relay the answers.
Well, I will just give praise to relay to Nancy, which is, I think it's worth lifting up that one of those early episodes is with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I think of Bridgeport. And I think it's just worth noting that getting any Chamber of Commerce anywhere to do something that is positive about paid leave is a significant accomplishment. And I think that's worth naming and lifting up and celebrating, because I think that's really valuable long-term investment in the strength of the program and also in getting the information out to folks who need it.
I'll definitely let her know that. Thank you.
Anything else on the podcast before we move on? Okay. Then I believe Maddie has our legislative update.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I have just a really brief update. As you heard Jessica mention last week at our full board meeting, we have a really packed calendar in October for all of the different, you know, events that we're doing, tabling across the state. So I just wanted to take some time today just to highlight an event that Nicole and I attended on Friday. We were really happy to be a part of the first ever maternal health conference that was sponsored by the Hispanic Health Council. It was on Friday at the Hartford Marriott. It brought together healthcare providers, advocates, different community services, and legislators for a day that was really centered on maternal health. I'm sharing because it was a really great event. We connected with a ton of healthcare providers, which right now is really important to our work, just making sure that they know about the new requirement, that they display our information. We're hoping that it will lead to some more collaboration in the future with a few different providers that we talk to. Yeah, we also, for the first time, included like a little flyer on our table with a QR code that takes them to the flyer that they need to print out. We thought this was like an easier way for them to kind of save it for later when they get back to their office, that they can, you know, adhere to the law. It was also really great to hear from several people who have used our program and completed a story card that Jess just mentioned as well. We also connected with a few different legislators and talked to them kind of about the program, how it's going, and it was just great to touch base with them since they're not in session right now. So here on this slide, you can see is Representative Hilda Santiago on the left, and then Nicole is with Representative Kai Belton on the right. So yeah, so I just wanted to take a second. It was a great event. And yeah, and shout out to our outreach team, Jess and Nicole and Nancy, especially for always identifying, you know, and finding different events for us to attend and be part of. So this was a really great one. Yeah, so just another reminder that our healthcare provider flyer is live on our website, and it was distributed to different licensed healthcare providers across the state at the end of September. But in case you're interested or you're looking for just like a really basic flyer in English and Spanish, it's on our website under resources, and then it's basic information flyer. So the legislative session starts the first week of January. While we don't anticipate having legislation of our own this year, we still plan to be really present at the legislature, and we're looking to expand our outreach to lawmakers and their staff, especially those who might be new, as well as different commissions, continuing our collaborations with state agencies, et cetera. We plan to coordinate different briefings, and we're looking for other areas where we can really collaborate with folks based on their interests and how that kind of ties in with paid leave and the intersections. So if anyone has specific ideas of who we should partner with or how, we definitely welcome them. And that's just it for my update this week. So
Thanks so much, Maddie. Any questions or flags for Maddie? Okay. Hearing none, is there any old business anyone would like to raise? Is there any new business anyone would like to raise? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll give a motion, Isha.
Thank you, Isha. Is there a second?
I'll second it. It's Justin.
Thank you, Justin. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Says it on my list that I'm supposed to ask. Hearing none, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 I believe the ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned. It is 9:35 a.m. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.